one of the big issues of the debate was the subject of an abortion and when you can have one and can't. And that the Linsey Davis from ABC got in on this and fact checked. Oh, this doesn't happen. There's no state. Well, I want to show you a video, and there's several of them that have now gone viral. I just chose one that I saw on Instagram, but I want to play this for everyone and show you what Trump was talking about.
Can I help you?
I'm looking to have an abortion.
How far along are you?
I'm 34 right now. My boyfriend is kind of out of the picture now, so I don't really have any support.
It's a 4 to 5 day procedure. A needle is inserted through the abdomen and into the fetal heart. Lidocaine is injected, and that will completely numb the fetus. After that, we inject a medication called digoxin and another medication called KCL, which will slow and then stop the fetal heartbeat. And then we'll give you a medication called misoprostol. Misoprostol will sort of induce contraction, will assist you in sort of pushing in the induction, and then remove all of the products of conception. You're definitely going to feel discomfort and cramping, but we do give you fentanyl and Versed during the procedure. We specialize in later trimester care. Our doctor is very well versed in what he's doing, and he's very good.
So I'm not like a rare situation. Y'all help women this late in pregnancy all the time?
All the time.
So, Arynne, I mean, that's a Planned Parenthood clinic, and there's several of these that have gone viral with people calling in the 34th week. In fact, one girl said she was 32 weeks in one of the videos that I watched, and they said, we can't get you in for another 5 or 6 days. And she goes, okay, that would put me at 32, 33 if we did this or whatever it was. And they go, yeah, that's fine. So it can't be that rare, which is what they made the case. I think what upsets me is that this is a valid discussion to have. The left gets to stake out a position and has no accountability on the issue. And in the face of actual facts, there's one that it exists, and it's according to that operator not that rare, and yet we want to be told by ABC News in Kamala Harris that it doesn't exist.
Yeah, I mean, the videos that we've seen since that, the lack of fact checking in the debate have been absolutely horrific. And I knew it was happening, but thankfully have not had any friends who have done anything like that. So I didn't actually have any personal connection to that. And to see these videos and to realize this is really happening, you hear stories about these abortions where they basically induce labor and then deny care to the baby also, which is really something that I kind of wish Trump had really brought home during the debate. But what's really demoralizing to me, actually, not to make this, it's a very sad subject, so I think it's okay for us to be a little negative on the show, is how far so much of the American public is from caring about this issue and believing it, that I think the discussion and the debate especially really should have just focused on how Trump is not instituting a national abortion ban, because that is how most women, a lot of women, will be voting. We know that single women overwhelmingly vote Democrat, and that is the single issue that they're voting off of this election. So Kamala Harris lies. She lies on X. She lies on the campaign trail. She constantly says Donald Trump is taking away abortion. And I do think that at this point, we need to recognize as a movement that to bring women along and to bring people along who are okay with abortion, I don't personally think we're going to get them by even pointing this out, right? As horrific as it is, and saying this is a baby that can feel things and you're injecting something into its heart. I actually think we need to start with Donald Trump's not taking away your rights, and then try to walk them slowly over to seeing really, truly what is going on.
So, right, his goal was to show how extreme she was.
Yes.
And again, I just want people to understand, though, because there's two issues that I think are at hand. One is what you're pointing out, Arynne. How do we discuss this? How do we win more effectively on the issue? But then there's the reality of what happened at the debate, Jessica. I mean, there's a tweet that got put out. I want to show you this. I mean, 8 states actually have no limit, right? I think this was no limit on this. Tim Walz actually signed a bill into law in Minnesota that says after a baby is born, after a botched abortion, he changed the language. It used to say that a physician had to care for life. They changed it to say provide care, to water that down. But here's the kicker. ABC's own website, Linsey Davis says it doesn't exist in any state. It's not legal. Their own website, abcnews.com, shows that Minnesota allows this. And Jessica, that's the thing, is that how we talk about the issue is, and I get Arynne's point, but it's also separate from the fact that these guys lied last night or whatever, Monday, Tuesday night, about the issue itself. And I think that hurts us with potential voters.
Yeah, I actually think what's going on here, Sean, is that Democrats, including the ABC moderators, they are pretending like this isn't happening. But the truth is they know it's happening and they're okay with it. They just can't say that they're okay with it because they will lose common sense voters that do support some form of an abortion restriction and not allowing it to go all the way. And when you look at the issue of Born Alive, right, we dealt with this in Congress with the Born Alive Abortion Survivors Protection Act, which Senator Harris voted against. So in that process, she actually learned the ins and outs of what was happening. That was in the context of the former governor of Virginia and his comments on the radio program, which I know were quickly pushed out by the Trump campaign, as they should have been in that moment. But what's happening is the Democrats can't wrap their arms around this because it will hurt them with voters. So they're pretending like it's not happening, but they're really okay with it. And that's what I think we have to show, the extremism as much as we can and wherever we can, because they are the ones that are extreme, allowing late-term abortions. And they are the ones that literally will allow a baby to sit on the table born after a botched abortion instead of bringing them back to life, which is sad.
And to make it even worse, one thing about Tim Walz, not only did he sign that bill, but they used to have to report to the State Department of Health the number of babies that were basically allowed to die after a botched abortion. I believe it was 8. And as opposed to changing the law to provide care, they changed the reporting requirements so they didn't have to see the number anymore.
That's a really good point that he's bringing up, because the second part of this argument is always, well, it doesn't happen. And, it's only happened like once or twice in the United States ever. And the truth is it's happening. It's just not being reported because of how the law is
kind of like crime. They change the way you report things and then they go, oh, it doesn't happen. It's just a way of washing your hands with it. I want to continue this, but before I do, I just got to, we always have unexpected things happen. Obviously, we've seen a lot of that in politics, but one other thing that happens is we can lose power. That happens from time to time. I've had it happen to me. If you want to ensure that you'll be ready when the unexpected happens, get the Patriot Power Generator 2000X. Go to 4patriots.com/Spicer. The thing is, if you have a normal generator, you think you might be ready. You have to worry about gas. It has to get filled up every few hours. You have to run to the gas station. You have to hope that the credit card machine works so that it's not only open, but if we were ever hit by an electric grid hit, you never know. The Patriot Power Generator runs completely on solar panels that come free with it. That's the cool thing about this. It powers the most powerful things in your house, your refrigerator, tablets, medical devices, completely portable. It can go in your house. You can bring it anywhere with you. I love that fact. I show it in my house all the time, but I know that I can bring it with me if a family member needed something. You are not going to want to be empty-handed during a time of emergency. You will regret this. It sells out all the time. So go order it right now. Go to 4patriots.com/Spicer. Get yours. Be ready in the event of an emergency that you can protect your family, your friends, yourself. All those key things. You're going to want this because you never know if it's going to be a day, a week, a month, or longer. Go to 4patriots.com/Spicer. All right. You brought up, Jessica, the Ralph Northam thing. I think it's important to remind people what he actually said, the former governor of Virginia, who is a doctor. Okay.
Yes.
This is what he said. And this is where I think the media is missing the boat, because it's not what Trump said. If you have a problem, it's what Ralph Northam, the former governor and doctor of Virginia, said. Let's play it for folks.
If a mother is in labor, I can tell you exactly what would happen. The infant would be delivered. The infant would be kept comfortable. The infant would be resuscitated if that's what the mother and the family desired. And then a discussion would ensue between the physicians and the mother.
A discussion would ensue. We'll resuscitate it and then say, do you still want to keep it or not? That's called murder. And it may be in difficult conversation for the folks at ABC to have. But when she says it doesn't exist, and when Trump is merely quoting the governor, that's not a mistruth. That's not a lie. That's not misinformation. If Democrats have a problem, it's with the governor of Virginia, who's a doctor, not with Donald Trump.
Yeah, that moment, I think will that radio moment that hit, just seeing it again, listening to it again, it just takes me back to all those feelings when that broke live, because I actually think that was a watershed moment in our American culture, especially pre-Dobbs, where you had a Democrat so forcefully embracing infanticide. And, they pretend like this doesn't happen. They lie about it, but it does. And this is a dark side of our society. So when we talk about the pro-life movement and the Republican Party being a culture of life and trying to communicate and educate for a culture of life, we got to get out of the 15 weeks versus 20 versus 24. Like, there's a place for that sort of technical conversation, but we have such a larger problem right now in our American culture that a comment like that is just, now he lost his election, of course, but a comment of like that is just allowed to like sit and it's okay and it's like acceptable is beyond me. So I'm glad President Trump is leaning into this issue. I think it's good for him to talk about it. I don't think he should shy away. I think he can do it in two ways: be clear of what we're for and be clear of what we're against. And those two things need to be front of center as voters make their decision. And I think the issue of life is still top of mind. I don't know that it'll be the difference maker for this election in the way it was in 2022. I think some of the heat has died down. But if you look back at the debate, Sean, it's the only thing that Harris actually cared about. She got like animated about the protection for abortion to literally kill babies in the womb. Like, that's what she was most excited to talk about.
Arynne, was there an issue that you didn't think came up that you were surprised?
I mean, I'm not surprised, just in that once we saw how the debate started, I figured there was no way they were going to ask Kamala, for example, how she brags about being the last person in the room for the Afghanistan withdrawal. So there were a number of questions like that. I mean, we all saw how they just did not talk about Trump's assassination attempt and his response to that, and the crowd. I mean, those are just such glaring issues to not bring up. But once we saw that it was a 3-against-1, I just threw my hands in the air watching this and thought, there's just, of course they're not going to ask that. But that's what I really would have wanted to see. And that's what a proper moderator would have actually brought up. And on the issue of Roe, they would say, you're talking about reinstituting Roe. I want to understand how that works. Does that mean you're going to pack the court? How do you,
oh
as
my God,
executive,
I packing
do
the court. That was, that's another one.
Tell the people who want to vote for you, who want Roe reinstated, tell us, how will you accomplish that? Is it because you don't care about the balance of powers?
No, I love that. Packing the court. Mark, you guys at America First do all this like great policy work. And I don't want to give you my answer right away, but I feel like I just started ticking off issues, and Arynne just added for me, packing the court. That was a great one. Why didn't she talk about it? And I like the angle that you came at that from, Arynne, because it's like, not, do you support it or not? Well, are you going to utilize it? Or even like the stupid things like the filibuster. I think it's like, are you going to change things to get your will, and explain that to people so they understand it? Mark, what's an issue that you guys maybe saw at America First and say, I cannot believe this didn't come up?
Well, I think more, we got too into the weeds, obviously, with what was going on in Springfield, Ohio. I think immigration, beyond just, you were against it. I mean, why didn't she get pressed on the fact that they took 94 executive actions in the first 100 days? They literally tried to blame him for killing a bill that the Speaker of the House said was dead on arrival before Trump. We said it was a horrible bill before Trump. They tried to blame it on him. So I thought immigration was something that should have been delved into more, and not just in terms of cats and dogs, but actually the real issues of immigration and how she's for it. Why won't they support the SAVE Act?
Yeah.
Do you actually
well, I want to talk about that. Yeah. But what about China? Did the word China actually
didn't come up?
Did national security? I mean, I said this yesterday, but we were the day before 9/11, and national security, the military, veterans, none of terrorism. I mean, I was like, what are we, is this? But we did talk about January 6th, climate change, race. I mean, all we didn't talk about is like how awesome Kamala Harris was as a subject. It was horrible. But Mark, you nice segue there, because the House of Representatives is running out of, shocker, it's September, the fiscal year ends in a few days. We're facing another continuing resolution. Speaker Johnson can't figure it out what's going to get the votes to pass. A lot of Republicans want the SAVE Act. You just mentioned it, brought it up with this. The SAVE Act, guess what? Ensures that illegals can't vote. This should be a gimme. And the question I have, and I'll start with you, Jessica, because this is what is this the hill to die on? Should conservatives say, if we're going to pass a bill to keep the government funding, we get something out of this, and what we should get is an insurance that illegals can't vote? Is this the hill to die on?
This is the easiest vote the conservative House of Representatives can take this year. It's just the easiest vote. There really shouldn't be any second guessing of it. Attach the SAVE Act to the CR, send it to the Senate. The Senate's going to do what it's going to do. It's led by Democrats. Like, I'm so tired of, and Sean and Mark, I mean, we've lived this for over a decade now, of making decisions in the House based on what the Senate's going to do. The House needs to do its business. It's ran by Speaker Johnson, who is a Republican, a solid Christian conservative. Put the SAVE Act on the bill, send it to the Senate. Let them strip it. Let them send it back. They're controlled by Democrats. Don't water down our bill in the first place before the debate has even begun. It's the easiest vote they can take. It's a no-brainer to me. We shouldn't even spend time talking about it because they just need to do it.
Well, if you enjoyed this content, make sure to like this video, subscribe, and click the notification bell to get more.